Audrey Smallwood, who now serves as a volunteer in the Littles group and is also a youth ambassador for Jessica's House. She's a junior at Turlock High School and co-founder of Kitchens for Change, a student-led club at Turlock High dedicated towards tackling food insecurities within our community. And she also runs cross-country and track and field. She's vice president of Young Life, a faith-based youth organization at Turlock High, and also volunteers, as I said, with the Littles group at Jessica's House. On the weekends, Audrey works at our family's restaurant, La Mo Cafe, and she loves baking and spending time with her young niece and nephews in her spare time. So please welcome Audrey.
For as long as I can remember, my mom and Aaron have been best friends. I consider the Nelson family my family, and I considered Carter my cousin. We grew up together. I listened as he belted songs on the living room piano. I watched as he wrestled with his nieces and nephews. I listened to Aaron as she vented to my mom about the neighbors complaining that Carter was revving his engine too loud in the driveway again. I sat at the dinner table as Carter rushed into family dinner half an hour late with car grease on his hands. Although he wasn't always on time, you knew when Carter entered the room because his contagious spirit immediately filled the space. He was one of those people that you just wanted to be around. On the morning of March 31st, 2009, when I was just 4 years old, one of the worst things that could happen to a child happened to me. I lost my father, Mark Smallwood, to a sudden heart issue. Losing a parent at such a young age is followed by a million emotions. Confusion, anger, sadness, loneliness, not understanding that they aren't coming back. But in the midst of my grief, I had somewhere to go. Aaron Nelson opened the doors of Jessica's house when my mom and I needed it most. I was a part of the first group of children to experiencing the healing at Jessica's house. I healed as Nancy Daly read books to me. I healed through art therapy and singing songs and playing games and making connection with kids who were experiencing a grief like mine. As I grew up, Jessica's house grew too, and eventually outgrew the tiny home on Main Street. Children were having to be put on a wait list. So the Jessica's House for Healing Hearts campaign was launched, and I served as a youth ambassador. Together, over $6.8 million was raised to build a beautiful new home for Jessica's House. Now no grieving child will have to wait to receive the support they need. If it weren't for the transformation that Jessica's House caused within me, I wouldn't be able to facilitate my own group of littles alongside Nancy Daly, the same woman who led me through my own grief journey 10 years ago when I was going through the loss of my father. My goal is to be a living example to these kids that life after the death of a loved one is possible. I aspire to be half the volunteer that Carter was. He took his magnetic spirit and his love for music, and he wrote songs with the kids about the emotions they were feeling. When I walk into Jessica's house, I feel that same contagious spirit. One of genuine love, kindness, generosity, acceptance, and freedom. I see it in every staff member, volunteer, and every donor, all of whom are dedicated towards helping mend the brokenness that grief has caused in people's lives. So I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the generous contributions you've made to Jessica's House. It's because of people like you that every grieving child, teen, young adult, parent, or caregiver will have the opportunity to experience the loving spirit that lives within the walls of Jessica's house and that once lived within the amazing Carter Nelson. May we remember his spirit today and be encouraged to carry that spirit with us into all areas of our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. Oh, that was beautiful. And next for our toast, I'd like to introduce Alan Rorax. Alan Rorax